A couple of years ago, I posted a video called 5 Reasons Gabi Braun is the Worst Character. That was back in October of 2018. I don't think I need to tell you twice that a lot has happened since then, and not necessarily for the better. Some of the comments over the last couple of years have asked me if I have since changed my mind about Gabi Braun, considering how much has happened in the story since then. My response?
No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 Hell no. 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 I refuse. No. No.
Absolutely nothing about Gabi Braun has changed for me since then. In fact, in some ways, she's even worse than before. For those of you who didn't catch my last video, or if you're just feeling lazy, let me recap the 5 reasons that, back in 2018, I used to describe Gabi Braun as the worst character. Mary Sue, cheap copy of the main character, selfish and lacking in development, more focused than other females, and finally, and arguably the biggest reason she's the most hated character, killing Sasha. So before I go into how each of these 5 have changed or not in the last 2 years, let's talk about what's actually happened since the last video. Literally the month after was 1/11, where Gabi and Falco go to a family dinner with the Brouses. And what does she do? She finds a Marleyan, who happens to be Sasha's lover, and sadistically brags to him about how she killed Sasha. Now I gotta say, Nicolo attacking Falco? Not cool. I really wish this poor boy would stop trying to get himself killed just to save Gabi's bitch ass. But when Nicolo punched her and bloodied her up a bit, beautiful. Then came the hostage scene, where Nicolo exposed Gabi's crimes to Sasha's family and offered them a chance at justifiable retribution, which leads to Mr. Braus not only not avenging his daughter, his only daughter mind you, but giving his derpy force speech about why revenge is bad. That made me realize just how much of a weak and pathetic coward he is, and I really don't envy Sasha for having a father who is too much of a weakling to avenge his own daughter. Then, we see Kaya going in for the kill instead, and I really thought she was gonna do it.
Do it! Just do it!
Boy, did my heart sink when Mikasa, of all people, stopped Kaya from killing Gabi.
You dumb bitch.
So, remember in the last video when I said Mikasa gets a pass because she was a badass female? Well, let's forget about that. Mikasa is the worst kind of friend a person could have. A false friend. The closest person she had to a sister was killed, and her reaction is to stop Sasha's adopted sister from avenging her, sparing the brat who killed Sasha. Whatever love and respect I had for Mikasa was gone after that. Now she's among my least favorite characters, excluding Gabi of course, and a certain other character in recent memory who killed a fan favorite, got massively hated by the fandom, yet was still spared because revenge are bad and empathy for the enemy, instead of letting them die the death they rightfully deserve.
As the two of you are the worst.
And let's not forget that one chapter later, Nicolo himself suddenly gets hit with, oh wait, revenge is bad, and the short-lived respect I had for him vanished as well, right alongside Mikasa. Which made the brutal rejection she gets next chapter much more satisfying when, prior to 111, I would have felt bad for her. Now I think she deserved it. Jump forward to 118 when she finally gets it through her thick skull that the Eldians on Paradise aren't actual devils. This was supposed to be the moment when she finally realizes she's an awful brat who can't be forgiven. This was when we were all supposed to go, yay, Gabi, you've seen the light, we forgive you for everything! Then, bam! Immediately shoots Eren's head off. The guy who's literally trying to save all his people, including her ungrateful bitch ass, showing that her development, quote unquote, is completely ham-fisted and falls flat. And then there's the cream of the crop. The forced parallels that compare her to Eren and, of all people, Sasha. Now Eren, I kinda understand being paralleled with Gabi with the very tongue-in-cheek hairstyle comparison, and her literally being a younger, gender-bent Eren. But comparing her with Sasha? That was fucking disgusting and a complete insult to Sasha's memory. The fact that Kaya saw Gabi as a sister figure like Sasha was, as if Sasha and Gabi were in any way alike, is reprehensible and extremely insulting on Isayama's part. As if it wasn't bad enough Mr. Braus was cowardly enough to just forgive his daughter's murderer, now Kaya is too? and they fucking hug when they part. Then, when it's suddenly her family that's about to be wiped out, when it's her homeland that's threatened, that's when she decides she doesn't want to fight anymore and acts like she actually has any genuine remorse for her actions. I don't buy it. I think if the rumbling wasn't happening, she wouldn't be showing an iota of remorse and would be her usual bitchy self. And then has the audacity to beg for the Survey Corps' help in saving the outside world when they not only have no reason to do so, but completely ignore the fact that everyone outside the walls completely deserves what Eren is about to do to them. It's really insulting, to be honest. Then shoots the one guy who showed any actual loyalty to his country instead of being complete traitors like the Cringe Vengers are. And even if they succeed in stopping the rumbling, they'll be hated forever by the people of Paradise. So there's absolutely no benefit for them to save the outside world, and it's cringy as fuck that Isayama is taking the story in this bland and rather uninteresting direction. But enough about how awful the traitor alliance is, let's go back to how awful Gabi is. Is she still a Mary Sue? Well, sort of. I will admit she's more of a creator's pet than a Mary Sue, since Isayama clearly wants Gabi to be this beloved character that gets all the attention and focus in the story. But Gabi Sue is still much catchier than Gabi the creator's pet. Plus, aside from one punch from Nicolo, she hasn't actually suffered consequences for her actions. That's why I'm hoping for the rumbling to succeed, and in a way, why I wish Connie went through with feeding Falco to his mom. Look, don't get me wrong, I like Falco. He's one of the only non-Waldian characters I actually care about, or at least don't completely despise, and understands the quote-unquote devils of Paradise are not actually devils. But if sacrificing Falco can save one of the Survey Corps' family members and cause Gabi to suffer, I'd be all for it. Is she still a cheap copy of the main character? Yeah, I made that clear throughout this whole video, so there's really nothing more to be said on that. Especially with the author intentionally trying to demonize Eren for his actions, while making Gabi morally superior. Though thankfully there are many more people who sympathize with Eren than anyone from the Cringe Vengers, let alone Gabi. Is she still selfish? I'm convinced she is, because again, it's only when her loved ones are in danger that she suddenly decides she doesn't want to fight anymore. And again, her quote-unquote development is clunky and forced down our throats, and fails to make the landing because I still don't feel any shred of empathy for her. Does she still get more focus than other females? Not initially. Mikasa and Annie are kind of back in the picture and getting more focus, and Hange to an extent as well. But Hange is an outright traitor and weak leader, Annie was always a sadistic monster, and again, after 111, any love I had for Mikasa was gone, so there's that. I'm not even going to bother with whether anything involving Sasha has changed or not, because there's not much to say about it. Sasha's still dead. Gabi is still her killer. Gabi cannot ever be forgiven for it, no matter how many characters in-universe take the coward's way out and decide to give her a pass on any form of consequence. And again, don't fucking compare the two, because Sasha did what she did to protect her people. Gabi was just satisfying her own bigoted bloodlust. No comparison, no matter what some Gabi stans might tell you. So 2 years later, and Gabi Braun is still the worst character ever. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.